All right. Look, it was a good week of practice. We're excited about getting out to the Dome and getting a chance to play a regular season game. We got a hell of an opponent coming in here, but we're excited about it, and hopefully our crowd's going to be excited about it too, and it'll be a raucous environment in the Dome on Sunday.
Speaking of that, how important is it for you all to get that Dome field advantage?
Yeah, look, I think it's important. I think it's really important, and I think, I've been around here a long time and played a lot of big games in the Dome, and I know what it sounds like when we're playing good football, and so I think that's our responsibility to make sure that the Dome's rocking, and it'll be rocking if we play the type of football that we're capable of playing.
How big of an advantage can that be? I mean, how does that manifest itself in a game?
Well, look, when you're playing a home game, really, it really boils down to primarily, I think, our ability on defense to play really good defense. I think the crowd noise, it can be challenging defensively, but I think it's really a challenge for the offense when it's really loud in the Dome. It makes it much more difficult for those guys to be able to communicate. So it's a big part of what we do, and it's a big help to us when we get the crowd going.
Hey Dennis, can you go into the conversation you and Mike Vrabel had about honoring Steve Gleason and Tim Shaw this week?
Yeah, look, I think not too long after the schedule came out, Mike reached out to me and kind of proposed the idea to me. Thought it would be a good idea. I was all on board as soon as he said it, and went down and visited with Mickey for a little bit, and he was on board with it, and so we kind of went from there. I think it's a great tribute to two guys that meant a lot to and mean a lot to both programs, and it's just a way for us to try to help with that cause. And obviously it's a terrible disease, and I've known several people that have had it, and I think their courage, both of these guys, and what they've done to support that cause and raise awareness and raise money to try to help in that cause has been awesome. And so I think it's just a small way for us, both teams, to pay tribute to a couple of guys that mean a lot to both programs.
Dennis, what do you like about what Jamal Williams brings to the team, and what kind of makes him unique as a runner?
Yeah, I think, well, number one, I think what he brings to the team is just a great demeanor and a great attitude about playing the game. He loves being out here and working. He works extremely hard. And he brings a physical demeanor to the run game, and I think that's big for us.
Why is he maybe somebody that's hard to break down?
Well, he's got good size, he's got good feet, and he runs with good pad level, and I think, sometimes you see bigger backs that don't run big, but this is a big back that runs big.
Jawan was asked a couple days ago if he's due for a breakout season. His response was, why does it matter if we don't have a breakout team? I mean, in that tight end room, can you talk about his selflessness and his leadership, even among the Jimmy Grahams of the world?
Well, I think we talk about our team, and really kind of the message with our whole entire team is it's all about the team. It's not about the individual. It's all about the team, and certainly I think there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to have really good seasons for us, but ultimately what matters is winning, and that's what our team's mindset is.
Dennis, can you elaborate a little bit about what happened with Jake Hayner and when the team found out about it?
Yeah, I don't think I'll elaborate anything specifically, but it was something that we found out, I'll say probably a week to 10 days ago, that this was a possibility, and so it's kind of been ongoing. Obviously it's an unfortunate situation, and a tough learning experience. So, we got a plan for him while he's away. and then hopefully we'll get him back here and get him back in the building, and start having an opportunity to kind of get him growing back in the system.
So generally, when the NFL's announced that, that means like the appeals process has already been exhausted. And
Yeah.
official.
Yeah. I don't know that there's a whole lot of appeal on
Right.
those situations.
Some
I mean,
people were asking that, but I always thought once the NFL says it, that means they've already appealed it. So
yeah, once it's
Yeah.
announced by the NFL, it's a done deal.
How does that switch up your emergency quarterback situation?
Well, we got 3 quarterbacks still on the team.
Was he was he part of that initially before Taysom Hill's switch and anything of that nature?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, look, there's a new rule where you can have an emergency third quarterback, which kind of allows you to bring 49 players to the game day roster. And so, with us kind of being a little bit unique in that we have 4 guys that play the quarterback position, it's just something that we'll evaluate on a week-to-week basis to see how, who we put out on the field and how we designate that gives us the best chance to win.
Does that mean you would consider labeling Jameis as the third quarterback? Or,
I think there's a lot of options that come with that, but yeah, that could potentially be something that we would do. We'll see what we do on a week-to-week basis.
what's your understanding of how that rule works? In order for Jameis to play, would Taysom have had to come in the game and play quarterback for X amount of snaps if Derek got hurt in the game?
Well, not. Yes, I mean both your first and second quarterback would have to be out due to a medical condition or a medical issue before the emergency quarterback could go into the game and play. And then if one of those guys is deemed clear to play, then the third quarterback can no longer play in the game.
The third can no longer play. So if you were to use that, it would have to be you'd be comfortable having Taysom actually be
He would be the
legitimate
quarterback.
backup
If that were
quarterback.
if that were the direction that we went, then he would be the backup quarterback.
It's kind of out of left field, but relates to the home crowd. What factors go into deciding if you win the coin toss, who goes out on the field first?
Yeah, I don't think it's a crowd issue in terms of how you decide that. I mean, you kind of go into each game and you evaluate where you're at offensively, where you're at defensively, the team that you're playing, how you want to be able to start the game. Do you want to control the end of half and start of the second half? I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into making those decisions.
A lot's always made of the run game when it comes to Tennessee, but obviously they've got talented receivers too. The safety position is one that felt very strong over the course of the preseason. Where would you say things are there in comparison to last year, maybe where you've taken some steps forward?
I think we're further along this year at this point in time than we were last year at this point in time. I think I said this earlier. Tyron missed the early part of training camp last year. Marcus May coming off an injury, both of them new to the system, so with both of them coming in healthy, ready to go to start training camp, and having a year under their belt in the system, I think we're just a lot further along.
Would you say that sentiment about feeling a lot further along now at this point than where you were last year goes beyond just a safety position? Like, is that in concert around the rest of the roster as well?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've said this multiple times. I like our team. I like where we're at as a football team. Now we got to go out and do it on Sunday. But I like the progress that we made, and I like the way this team's coming together.
And it's just kind of a general strategy question, not specific to this game, that I've always wondered about. It seems basic, but when you have a corner who shadows a receiver, why is it difficult to have that corner follow the receiver into the slot? Like a lot of times people won't have the corner follow them.
Yeah, so I would say I probably, understand where your question is we're talking more or less about Lattimore and the fact that we've had him line up
Right.
and shadow different receivers. There's different route combinations and different things that you see inside in the slot than what you see on the outside lanes. And so it's just unique in going into the slot and having to cover a lot of different route variety in there, different than what you see kind of outside.
And this is probably a better question for Pete, but from your perspective as a defensive coach, why don't more teams combat that by putting, you know, elite receivers in the slot more to avoid that matchup?
Yeah, well, you're always trying to put your players in position to do what they do best, you know, and so some guys don't operate as well inside in the slot. No different than some outside corners don't operate as well inside in the slot. So I think that's just part of the, you know, the chess match that you play, you know, offensively and defensively.
Where have you seen Alontae Taylor since we last saw him on the field in the preseason game going into this? Where have you seen him take the kind of steps forward in terms of his development in the slot?
Yeah, I think he's getting more and more comfortable every single day in there. You know, and so and he's going to get better and better and better as the season goes along. And so, you know, this season is not a sprint; it's a marathon. You know, it's a long season, and so, you know, we're just looking for him to continue to develop on a week in and week out basis. And I feel really good about where he's at right now. I love his mindset. You know, he's attacking that challenge, and I'm excited about watching him play.
The saying always goes, you run out of good corners before you run out of good receivers. So how beneficial is it to have 3 corners you can depend on in this kind of an offensive environment in the NFL?
Yeah, I don't think you can ever have enough good corners in our league. I think it's probably the toughest physical position to have to play in our league, because you're playing against world-class athletes in a lot of space, you know, and particularly the way that the style of defense that we play. We don't like to give up a lot of easy completions, so, you know, there's a lot of tight coverage, and you know, it's a good feeling as a play caller to have, knowing that you got guys that you feel like can go out there and execute the defense the way that we want it to be executed. All right, thanks guys.
Appreciate it.